लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, वंस अगेन आप सभी को बताना चाहेंगे माननीय मंत्री जी प्रेमाइसेस में परिसर में आ चुके हैं और नीचे ईमा के लाउंज में हैं। अब से थोड़ी देर बाद वो हमारे साथ सभागार में होंगे। आप सभी से निवेदन है कि जल्द से जल्द आप अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। प्लीज़ अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन्स को भी साइलेंट मोड या मीटिंग मोड पर रखें। विशेष रूप से जो स्टेज के सामने खड़े हैं उनसे निवेदन करना चाहेंगे, प्लीज़ आप अपने स्थान ग्रहण करें। सामने की जो टेबल्स हैं उनके ऊपर नेम प्लेट्स हैं। आपसे निवेदन है अपने सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट्स के अनुसार अपने सीट्स लें। Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very energetic crowd here, but for the time being, if I can just request you to consolidate your energies, be at your respective seats. We're just going to be joined shortly by the Honourable Minister joining us here for the inaugural session. The entire session with the Honourable Minister is going to be close to 1.5 hours. Please leave the aisles unoccupied so that people can move in, they can take their seats. सभी लोग जो अभी भी खड़े हैं, देवी सज्जनों आपसे निवेदन करना चाहेंगे कि प्लीज़ आप अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। Ladies and gentlemen, drawing your attention with a resounding applause, let's extend a very warm and a hearty welcome to our Honourable Chief Guest, the Honourable Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Zemu Soda, the Honourable Energy Minister of Zimbabwe, Mr. Yo Pascal Tricor, the Global CEO of Schneider Electric, Mr. Satish Pai, the Managing Director, Hindalco Industries, and escorting our distinguished guest here, Mr. Rohit Pathak, the President EMA, Mr. Jitendra Kumar Agarwal, Chairman Elecrama 2023, Mr. Hamza Absiwala, President-elect EMA, Mr. Sunil Singhvi, Vice President EMA, and Ms. Charu Mathur, Director General EMA. Requesting you all to kindly be seated, please. आप सभी से निवेदन है कि प्लीज अपने स्थान पर बैठ जाएं। If I can request our media people also, the photographers, to be kindly be on the side so that we can start with the event. Please take your seats. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar to all present here. Good greetings of the day and good greetings of the event, the most coveted, the most sought after, and the largest and the smartest congregation which is powering the future of energy. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Elecrama 2023, the flagship event of the Indian electrical industry ecosystem, the largest standalone event of the Indian electrical and the allied equipments industry, and yes, the largest T&D show of the world, which is being organized by EMA, which is the natural voice of the Indian electrical and the allied electronic equipment industry, further being supported by the Ministry of Power and the Ministry of Heavy Industries, Government of India. And this is a show, ladies and gentlemen, which showcases not only the technology and equipments, but also we have the Thought Leadership Forum for everything electric, with the technical sessions and the B2B meet, the buyer-seller meet, the industry forums. And this stands as an excellent platform to discuss and to delve on the opportunities and the challenges which are there for electricity and energy for the 21st century. And also the various challenges as India is approaching the green transition, looking into gradually reducing our carbon footprints and becoming net zero by 2070. As we take these discussions forward, we are really excited and very thankful to our Honorable Minister, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, for leading Elecrama 2023. India, ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and further strengthened and guided by the Honorable Minister, is taking all the right moves, all the green moves. So we formally begin Elecrama 2023 on an auspicious note. Today stands as Mahashivaratri, the confluence of Shiva and Shakti, the confluence of energy and consciousness. And we begin as per our Indian traditions and customs by lighting the ceremonial lamp. May I request the Honorable Minister, sir, to please light the ceremonial lamp. Also requesting the other distinguished dignitaries, our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Zemu Soda, the Honorable Energy Minister, Zimbabwe, Mr. Pascal Tricord, the Global CEO of Schneider Electric, Mr. Satish Pai, the Managing Director of Hindalco Industries, along with the EMA torchbearers, Mr. Rohit Pathak, Mr. Jitendra Kumar Agarwal, Mr. Hamza Siwala, Mr. Sunil Singhvi, and Ms. Charu Mathur.
Gunashariraya Gunamanditaya Guneshanaaya Dhimahi Gunatitaya Gunadhishaya Gunapravishtaya Dhimahi Ekadantaya Vakratundaya Gauri Kanayaya Dhimahi Sajishanaya Bhalachandraya Shri Ganeshaya Dhimahi. जटाटवी गलज्जल प्रवाह पावितस्थले कलेवलम्ब्य लम्बितां भुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिकां ठमड्डमड्डमड्डमन्निनादवड्डमर्वयं चकार चण्डताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिव शिवम् जटाकटाह सम्भ्रम भ्रमन्निलिम्ब निर्झरी विलोल वीचि वल्लरी विराजमान मूर्धनि धगद्धगद्धगज्ज्वलल्ललाट पट्ट पावके किशोर चन्द्रशेखरे रति प्रतिक्षणं मम
So ladies and gentlemen, the 15th edition of Elecrama 2023 starting on an auspicious note with the blessings of Shiva and Shakti. Happy Mahashivratri to all of you. This is a confluence of consciousness and energy. And we pray to the Supreme Power to bless us with this consciousness and energy to be on the right path and to work towards global good and welfare of all beings. Thank you to the Honorable Minister. Thank you to the dignitaries. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would like to invite one of the energies behind this spectacular and vibrant show, Elecrama 2023. Would like to invite the Chairman Elecrama 2023, Mr. Jitendra Agarwal, to kindly take center stage. With a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jitendra Agarwal.
Good morning. What a beautiful day. Good morning once again. I, on behalf of Elecrama Organizing Committee and IMA IoT members, welcome you all. So life is a full circle. Almost a year back, on 16 March, on a beautiful Monday in Delhi, we started the journey of Elecrama 2023 with a leader who has been instrumental in transforming the power sector of India. And almost a year later, we are all here together to inaugurate the Elecrama 2023 under the leadership of our own power man of India, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, Honorable Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy. Thank you very much, sir, for all your guidance, all your support to IMA and Elecrama. And we assure you, sir, we'll make you proud. Elecrama 2023 is going to be the biggest ever electrical industry exhibition happened in the past. Elecrama 2023 will showcase anything and everything under the sky you want from the electrical industry, from the power sector. This is the place to be, Elecrama 2023. At IMA...
Hello JK, that was cool.
Excuse me, let me complete first.
Yes JK, turn back. Hello, I am Isha. I am from your future. The smart AI from the Indian energy industry. I am from the year 2035.
Oh wow, this is amazing. Maza aa gaya. We can see the future with us today. Wow. So what is happening in 2035, Isha? Share with us.
Well, we have a whole lot of things happening in our energy sector. To sample a few, here you go. The predictive AIs have taken over systems and we have much less downtime currently. Distribution loss has been curtailed with deployment of connected systems linked to smart machines. Super apps, and a platform is now in vogue, connecting the entire ecosystem of stakeholders, consumers and dynamic delivery of needs. Self-powered smart rail bus has reduced travel time and pollution in our cities.
Wow, this is awesome, and I can see the offshoots of this at Elecrama 2023.
JK, I have a question for you. What are you doing today to make 2035 so beautiful?
Well, Isha, there are a lot of things which we are doing today. Just see Elecrama 2023. For last 100 years, whenever somebody thinks of energy, oil used to come in the mind of the people. But now, whenever people will think of the energy, electricity will come in the mind of the people. And we are very proud to say at IMA, we are all about electricity. So, and just see the theme of Elecrama 2023, reimagine energy for the sustainable future. So we want to see your future sustainable.
Hey, that's interesting JK. So what will Elecrama look like in 2035?
In 2035, it will be at least the 5 times of the size it is today. The global footprint of Indian industry will be at least 8 times from where it is today. That is where we see Elecrama and the Indian industry in 2035.
The efforts you guys have invested now is reaping great benefits for us in our times. Did I hear somebody say, laying foundations for the future? Hi JK, and hi Isha, I am Bijli, and am from further in the future. I am about to go into Elecrama 2047. I have come to Elecrama 2023 to check out just that, what's happening that lays the foundation for my today.
Oh, this is getting crazy. 2 AIs at the same time.
Oh come on JK, be happy. The future is talking to you at Elecrama 2023. Having said that, let's get the guy who talks Vision 2047. Rohit Pathak, President, IMA, sitting next to the power man of India. Can you come up here?
Hi, Vijay.
Hi Rohit. Can you do some crystal ball gazing? I am from 2047. Where do you think India is?
That's easy, Bijli. This century belongs to India. आज भारत आत्मनिर्भर है, आगे विश्व भारत पर निर्भर होगा.
Wow, such a powerful statement. But how will this happen?
the visionary political leadership that is willing to reform and transform, and the Indian entrepreneurship which we see all around us today will make this happen.
Is the future colorful?
Actually, the future is green, and green is the future. Green energy is here to rule.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Rohitji. Thank you, Jitendraji, for this crystal gazing. And yes, a big hand for Bijli and Isha from 2025 and 2047. So, Bijli and Isha, I'm sure both of you are very smart, futuristic. You might have already thought of something. How do we very technically and smartly inaugurate Elecrama 2023?
As you were talking with me, we have thought of an idea. We will get our Honorable Minister, inaugurate Elecrama 2023, and request her guests to actively participate. Yes, and here is the QR code for all of you to scan and open the Cloud app. And please do the honors with me of giving the countdown for Elecrama 2023 inaugural.
That's wonderful, Bijli and Isha. तो सभी के साथ, सभी के विश्वास के साथ, तो सभी के प्रयास के साथ हम इलेक्रामा 2023 का मंगलमय शुभारंभ करेंगे। और मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी अपने रिप्रेजेंटेटिव से कि वो माननीय मंत्री जी को टैबलेट भेंट करें जिससे and all of you please have your mobile phones on your tables. We have the QR code. You're requested to scan only when I say so. And in case you're facing any problem in scanning this, you can type the link which is there. So on the count of get, set, launch. Get पर आप तैयार हो जाइए. Set के ऊपर just have your fingers at the QR code. And when I say launch, we are all going to be doing it together. So are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay. Get, set, launch.
Scans the data received and validates the inaugural code.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's the future, ladies and gentlemen. Clean, green, and energized. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Elecrama 2023. And as I invite our distinguished dignitaries on the dais, I would like to just request our representatives to kindly set the stage towards that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new India which we saw moving into the future, and all of you are here with us, more than 100 countries participating in this exhibition and the Thought Leadership Forum, as together we build a more energized landscape for the energy. Everything from electricity to energy is happening here. And this is the time to reimagine energy for a sustainable future, especially for a country like India, which is aiming to become a $5 trillion economy, especially for a country like India, which is committed towards its 1.4 billion aspirational population. A country like India, which is committed to becoming a developed nation by 2047. And at the same time, it stands committed towards achieving its net zero targets, gradually reducing our carbon footprints, and by 2070 being net zero. And that is where, ladies and gentlemen, India, very prudently, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, is very prudently integrating its development goals with the climate action targets. We are seeing this, the commitment which the Honorable Prime Minister had made at COP26, and as an industry, IMA being the natural voice of the Indian electrical and the allied electronics equipment industry, is taking this vision and mission of the Honorable Prime Minister, which is further strengthened under the leadership of our Honorable Minister of Power, New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singh Ji. So we are extremely thankful to him for having taken out time and joined us today. As you saw on the screens, ladies and gentlemen, this is a show which every year is growing bigger and larger. This is the flagship showcase of the Indian electrical industry. This is the largest standalone event of the electrical and the allied equipment industry, and the largest T&D show of the world. As we take these, the exhibitors with our almost 1,000+ exhibitors, also participation from 100+ countries, we also have the Thought Leadership Forum with various co-located events where we take our discussions further and more deeper. We have the World Utility Summit, wherein we have the CXOs of the utilities, the energy efficiency bodies, the standards organizations, regulators, the finance professionals, the policy makers, all joining us from around the world, taking these discussions as we set the agenda for the future, actively playing the role of being a key enabler for the ecosystem. The theme which we are going to be taking in the 4th edition of the World Utility Summit is Sustainable Transformation of Utilities. We also have the eTech Next as a showcase of the next-gen technologies and solutions which are impacting the electricity and the power sector. And the theme which we are going to be having in that is accelerating towards more cleaner and sustainable energy. We also have the Rail Urja, the Women Power, where the women in the power sector, so more power to that show, more power to the women being a part of the electricity and the energy sector and framing the future. We have the Reverse Buyer-Seller Meet, which we take with our national and international exhibitors and buyers who are there to look into the new products and technologies and solutions which India has to offer, as India is working very ardently towards building a very robust global supply chain with more quality products, being globally competitive. Our Honorable Prime Minister has already given us a target that by 2047, India needs to be a developed nation. We are right now in the Amrit Kal, as we all work together के साथ सबके प्रयास के साथ सबके विश्वास के साथ हमें एक नए भारत का निर्माण करना है. An India which is climate sensitive, an India which has a more equitable and a just growth, an India which is globally competitive, an India which is more skilled, educated, empowered, and we work towards creating an Atmanirbhar, a self-reliant India with everyone. Towards that, also in the very spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we are also leading with the G20 presidency. The theme which we have for the G20 is One Earth, One Family, and we have one future. We work towards shared prosperity, we work towards global good and welfare for all beings. And towards that, सभी का साथ और सभी के विश्वास के साथ हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Looking into this new energy landscape, the future energy landscape, more sustainable one, more Atmanirbhar India. Ladies and gentlemen, the focus pavilions is going to be the power PSUs, the women in power, the startups, India being the third largest ecosystem of the startups. Our focus is also on the startups, the entrepreneurs, the young minds, the brilliant minds who are coming up with their new technologies and solutions for a more greener and a cleaner tomorrow. So we work with the startups, we work with the women in power. Various business opportunities are going to be unfolding for all of us in these next 5 days. Opportunities across sectors, in railways, in metros, for the PSUs, for the corporates, towards as we build our smart cities, in the defense sector, discovering innovative startups across sectors. Elecrama 2023, ladies and gentlemen, is towards reimagining energy for a sustainable future. And now please join me as I invite our Honorable Chief Guest, the Honorable Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, who leads us today. I request him to please take center stage, inviting our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Zemu Soda, the Honorable Energy Minister of Zimbabwe, Mr. Yor Pascal Tricor, the Global CEO of Schneider Electric, Mr. Satish Pai, the Managing Director, Hindalco Industries, Mr. Rohit Pathak, President EMA, Mr. Jitendra Kumar Agarwal, Chairman Elecrama 2023, Mr. Hamza Arsiwala, the President-elect EMA, Mr. Sunil Singhvi, Vice President EMA, and Ms. Charu Mathur, Director General EMA. So ladies and gentlemen, with this grand and electrified opening which we've had of Elecrama 2023, I would now like to invite to further set the ball rolling, once again inviting Mr. Jitendra Kumar Agarwal, JK as we fondly call him, the Chairman Elecrama 2023, for greater insights into the exhibition.
Good morning again, and finally I'm standing on the podium, because most of the friends who knows me in the road shows, I've never stood on the podium. And so good morning again, and thank you very much, sir, for joining us. On behalf of Elecrama Organizing Committee and EMA IoT members, I welcome you all once again. I welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. Thank you, sir, for joining us, and thank you, the electrical industry, for joining us. So, the journey which we started almost a year back will be cultivated over the next 5 days. And these 5 days are going to be the most interesting 5 days for the electrical industry of the world, for the power sector of the world from India. When we started this journey, there were a lot of thoughts behind us, because Elecrama is happening after the pandemic. whether we have it online, offline, but with all the encouragement all across, finally we are all here together for these beautiful 5 days, and a lot of hard work which has gone in last 1 year with these big organizing committee members. Everybody has put in so much of effort. We are all here together. So I once again thank you, each one of you, from the bottom of my heart. We have, over the period of last 1 year, we have done more than 11 road shows in India. We have done more than 10 road shows across the globe. We have touched more than 300 industries, directly, indirectly, to showcase the world what Elecrama will bring to you. Some of the special features I want to talk of Elecrama 23 are new generation tech and focus on new energies at the eTech Next. Latest in the utility, in the World Utility Summit, a startup challenge. This is the first time we are doing, because whenever anybody thinks of a startup, what they think is our IT industry, FMCG, but we have changed the concept that there are a lot of startups who are working so well in the power sector. So we have done a startup awards this time. We have a startup pavilion where the startups will be showcasing their products. So please do visit them. We have launched a product, Electraverse. 700 buyers through RBSM for the pre-scheduled meetings. More than 15,000 pre-scheduled meetings are already decided with the buyers and the exhibitors, apart from all the business what you will do in next 5 days. 300 utility buyers from almost all places of the country. I think this number is already much beyond 300. So, and a special presence of women in power. As a country, the dream of this country is that there's a empowerment all across. So a lot of leaders in women in power has been specifically focus has been made so that women in power become more powerful, and our DG is also a woman, so we have a woman in power already with us. And when we say our theme, reimagine energy for the sustainable future, even the smallest of the things, though such a large exhibition, such a large event, almost everybody or who's who of the world in the electrical industry are under one roof. But the smallest of the things, even your lanyards are biodegradable. We have tried our best to provide you so much of water with the bottles and the paper glasses which are biodegradable so that you don't use the plastic bottles. This may sound very small, but this is where we want to walk the talk. Yeah, let us reimagine energy for the sustainable future. Let us do something good for the future of our humankind. And Elecrama is growing. It is a true reflection of Indian capability, Indian industry, aspirations of the electrical industry. And the beauty of Elecrama, as I always say, this is probably the only exhibition in the world which is with the industry, by the industry, for the industry. And I'm again grateful for your presence, sir. Thank you very much. And now I once again welcome you all. Thank you all. Looking forward to have great 5 days together. Let us bring energy, happiness to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this very enthusiastic and energetic context setting of Elecrama 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, we heard from Mr. Rohit Pathak, the President, IMA, about a little bit of crystal grazing, how the future is going to be looking into. India has already very ambitious targets being set for 2030 and for 2047 when we are going to be celebrating 100 years of independence. So how is the industry working towards the very aim and the vision and the mission and the targets which had been set by our honorable and visionary Prime Minister? We hear more from Mr. Rohit Pathak. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, as I invite him to share the Industry Vision 2047 with us.
Thank you. Honorable Minister Shri R.K. Singh Ji, Minister Zoda Semu, Minister of Energy and Power from Zimbabwe, Satish, Jean Pascal, senior officials from the government, and my fellow leaders of the Indian industry. It is my privilege on behalf of IMA to welcome all of you to Elecrama 2023, the 15th edition of the largest exhibition in the world. It is indeed an opportune time for us to host this mega event. This decade, and perhaps even this century, belongs to India as we steadily march towards the pole position in the global economic order once again. But doing so in a responsible and a sustainable manner, upholding the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. As India strives to be energy independent by 2047 and net zero by 2070, green electricity will be the core of this journey. To this end, IMA, in partnership with the Government of India, had developed India at 47 vision for the electrical and allied electronics sector, which was anchored around three core tenets. First, electricity will be the main source of energy. This will lead to a 6 to 8x growth in per capita electricity consumption from about 1.2, 1.5 thousand units per capita to over 10,000 units per capita. As we develop, urbanize, move to e-mobility and digitalize the economy. The second, the source of electricity will move towards renewables. Renewables coupled with new technologies for mass storage systems will ensure that this growth is green. And third, I'm very confident India will emerge as a global leader in several of these technologies for green energy generation, storage, as well as consumption. Because we are building India, unlike many other geographies who are trying to turn green, we will build green. And like I said, आज भारत आत्मनिर्भर हो रहा है और आगे विश्व भारत पर निर्भर होगा. We expect almost $2 trillion to be invested in the sector over this Amrit Kal period of the next 25 years. This is very much in line with the vision backed by some path-breaking actions of the Government of India under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and our patron, the Power Man of India, Shri R.K. Singh Ji. Getting to 170 gigawatts of renewable capacity ahead of its time and commitment, and with the roadmap to take it to 500 gigawatts by 2030, focused PLI schemes for solar cells, battery manufacturing, the strong push for network modernization and viability through RDSS, launch of the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and several progressive schemes like IPDS, Saubhagya, DDU-GJY. Indeed, the pace of change is electric. As IMA, over the past 3 years, since the last Elecrama, we too have tried to remold ourselves to embrace this change and lead the industry with dynamism. We added 5 new divisions with these new opportunities: e-mobility and charging infrastructure, storage systems, power electronics, control panels and testing and measurement. We set up 3 new centers of excellence: Women in Power, the Technology Innovation Support Council, and Young at IMA. We partnered with key stakeholders in the country such as the MEP consultants, IESA, COSMA, IGBC, as well as many of our partner associations in other parts of the world. To connect with the startup ecosystem, we launched Electraverse Spark as a startup challenge, the 12 finalists of which are showcasing their technologies and solutions here at Elecrama. In addition, we continue to ensure our thrust on key policy matters to build a vibrant domestic industry. Several areas we have been working on have seen positive movement. For example, the QCBS as an alternate to L1, PLI schemes for CRGO and semiconductor, halving of bank guarantee requirement to about 3%, and use of surety bonds instead of PBG, the RDSS, and the cyber security regulation. I would like to thank Shri R.K. Singh Ji for his strong support to the industry and the impetus he has brought on resolving our concerns in the last few years. Looking ahead, I do believe this Amrit Kal period is one that presents itself with a plethora of opportunities for us as an industry, and it is for us to make it count. Today, IMA membership stands close to 1,000, representing over $50 billion of revenue. And by 2030, we believe this should more than double to over $100 billion with over 25 billion in exports. To deliver this, I think there are 4 areas which I would like to leave behind as thoughts for you to think about. First, we need to innovate and embrace the startup ecosystem as our own. Whether it is new energy, mobility, energy efficiency, there is a lot of exciting work being done by startups and incubators. Many are approaching these challenges and opportunities in a completely different manner and perspective and solving them in their own unique ways. We need to embrace this ecosystem as our own and allow them to plug into the world of energy in a seamless manner. Think of them as an extended R&D and product development arm of ours. The second, proactively participate in the global opportunity, especially given the evolving geopolitical scenario. Even as India will see rapid growth, I urge you all not to ignore the export opportunity. Not only will it provide you with profitable growth, it will also help you stay abreast with the technological changes that are happening world over. Third, and I think one of the most important ones, is for us to double down on quality, safety, and reliability. If the last 5-10 years were about power to all, the next 10 years will be about quality power to all. So there is no other way for us to establish ourselves in the global ecosystem or succeed domestically unless we as an industry take a concerted effort to raise our game on quality. And the fourth thing I would say is think solutions. Customers, whether institutional or individual buyers, increasingly will seek solutions from us and not products. Uberization will happen of our industry too. Over the next 5 days, I, on behalf of IMA, invite you to immerse yourself in the world of energy, explore futuristic technologies and solutions which many of our exhibitors have showcased here for you, rekindle some of the old friendships that we have now getting opportunity to do in this at Elecrama, and build new connections. At Elecrama 2023, we hope to partner with each of you to lay the foundation for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a green Bharat, and an energy independent Bharat. Jai Hind. Thank you.
So that was the future energy landscape spelled out by a strategist, by a planner, by a futuristic leader, and the voice of the industry, Mr. Rohit Pathak, the President, IMA. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we now invite the views also further of the industry, our distinguished guest of honor present with us here on the dais, Mr. Satish Pai, who's the Managing Director of Hindalco. Under his leadership, ladies and gentlemen, Hindalco has evolved into a future-facing company with greener, stronger, smarter purpose at the core and a focus on digitization, on innovation and high performance. Mr. Pathak had mentioned about R&D, and we have Mr. Pai's interest in R&D has actually led to new product lines such as the lightweight aluminum intensive battery enclosures for the global EV industry, lightweight commercial vehicles such as aluminum bulkers and trailers, and also having into the new housing infrastructure sector. So we invite further his views and his vision. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Satish Pai.
So thank you very much for that kind introduction. So Honorable Minister for Power, New and Renewable Energy, Mr. R.K. Singh, His Excellency Mr. Soda, my distinguished colleagues on the dais, as well as all the delegates and participants today. A very good morning to all of you. I guess somebody asked me today, why are they calling a metals guy to an electrical conference? But I guess I hope that the introduction already told you that a large part of what's happening in the electrification world today requires many of the metals like aluminum and copper and zinc and non-ferrous generally. And a lot of these products are what are needed today to make the world greener, stronger, and smarter. So for me, looking at it from Hindalco's point of view, the electrification of the world is happening at a very rapid pace. And this is driven largely by the whole agenda to reduce CO2 emissions, which the world, as well as India, has taken commitments on. But this puts a tremendous pressure and spotlight on the energy source for electrification. So we have to understand that as electricity demand goes up, the generation of electricity and the sources of power and the batteries and storage that go with it become increasingly critical. The world, I think in the last 5 years, was moving ahead with the assumption that renewable sources would provide majority of these increased power demand. And I guess that the war in Ukraine has brought a lot of these expectations a little bit back into reality. And I think that what people were talking about, which was energy transition, side by side today, and many governments talk about energy security along with energy transition. So what we have to realize, governments and companies, and we are equally in the same when we made our strategic plans, that if this transition is not carefully planned or over exuberant assumptions are made, then energy shortages will result. Because the power demand, whether we take our own country or anywhere in the world, is growing at 5, 10, 15%, whereas if you go back 10 years ago, the power demand was growing at hardly single digits. But the great push for this energy transition and electrification is driving that energy demand, and I guess that's why this is a game that has to be played from many angles. The world very clearly needs to move towards greener and a sustainable future. But it's also very clear that no single source of energy or single solution or technology is a silver bullet that can solve our problems. I think that we will have to work at this energy security angle from all directions, and I think energy storage systems, which will give us the RTC power capability, especially for a country like India, are going to become increasingly critical over the next 10 to 15 years. Coming from a very energy-intensive business like aluminium, we worry more about how we are going to have a very steady source of power that's green. And that, for me, that comes down to technologies like battery technology or pumped storage, pumped hydro, or green hydrogen. All these things are stuff that we are watching very closely. I think that I would also like to take this opportunity to say that to get this balance right, nuclear power also has to be in the mix. And you can see many of our competing countries in the Middle East are all heavily investing into nuclear power as well. I know that there are historical allusions to nuclear power that were not very favorable, but technology has moved on. And today, the newer nuclear technology is something that as a country we should look at. Let me make 3 brief points in my speech, which I think are critical. So just as a disclaimer, I didn't use ChatGPT to make this speech. I spent some time thinking about it. I think for a country like India and generally the world, the circular economy and recycling are going to be critical. Availability of lithium, zinc, cobalt, rare earths, all of these are going to get increasingly more and more difficult as this whole electrification journey takes off. So I think that in India, we have to set up the supply chains and the technology, which Hindalco is already on the journey to do. So what happens with the metal is that today you can get it from the conventional ore route, but increasingly you have to get larger and larger percentages through the recycling route. Just to give you an example, of the 4 million tons of aluminium that our subsidiary Novelis uses, 62% of it comes from recycled metal. So just imagine the power of recycling and a circular economy. There used to be, for us engineers, a mantra called, we used to design for maintenance. Today, the new mantra we are talking about is design for recycling. It should be easy for you to recycle products rather than crush it together and shred it, and it gets very difficult to sort out. The second very important part in this whole electrification and green journey is digital and automation to get improved efficiency. The amount of CO2 saving you can do by getting more efficient is quite amazing. I have to tell you that when the US first came out with the CAFE rules on emissions, it was just the efficiency of the IC engines that gave majority of those benefits at the beginning. So as we go to greener sources, we should not lose sight that pumps, motors, drives, transformers, all of these, air conditioners, using newer and newer technology, you can get a lot more efficient. And if you combine that with digital and AI tools that are coming out, efficiency itself can give us a big boost in this whole sustainability journey. India has a crucial role to play. We are going to be among the world's top 3 economies. There is going to be a huge population that needs electricity, needs goods, and I guess we are going to need a huge amount of power to keep up with the ambitions that we have as a country. Now, we also have ambitions, as Rohit and many others said, not just to do things for ourselves, but also do technology and manufacturing for the rest of the world. And I think this is this opportunity today is really clearly there on us because of various geopolitical and macroeconomic things. So I think India and Indian manufacturing, and a large part of you who are in this audience and probably are doing it as well, I think it's very important for us to grab this opportunity. But just to reiterate the point that Rohit said, the quality, the service, and the reliability that the world expects from these technologies is something that we will have to match the expectations of. So in closing, the world is going to electrify at a rapid pace. And the whole ecosystem of energy providers, equipment manufacturers, and service providers will have to make sure and work together so that this electrification is green and sustainable. The fact that the world will electrify is given, but I think the challenge in front of us, technology, manufacturing, is to make sure that this electrification happens in a green and sustainable manner. So thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insights. And as you mentioned, it's going to be a mixed basket of energy, mixed basket of technologies, new sources of energy we need to tap on. Lithium you mentioned, and India has now very recently, as you must be knowing, that in J&K we have discovered huge reserves of lithium. Circular economy, digitization, automation, efficiency, quality, and being competitive. So that's the future as we're looking into. Thank you, sir, for rethinking and reimagining energy for a more greener and sustainable future. And now further inviting the views and insights of another stalwart, Mr. Pascal Tricord, the global CEO of Schneider. Ladies and gentlemen, he also leads the Asia business as a chairman and the regional president of Schneider Electric. He is also committed to creating a more sustained and inclusive future for all, using technologies and digital innovation to empower all to make the most of their energy and resources. He's also the director of the Worldwide Board of the United Nations Global Compact. I invite Mr. Tricord to please share his insights and address this August gathering.
Good morning. Dear ladies, gentlemen, Honorable Minister Singh, it's really good to see you again. Minister Soda, dear leaders on this panel, I'm very excited to be back to Elecrama. Let's not forget that this event in our industry, and I've been in the industry for the past 36 years, is the biggest event of our industry in the world. I would like also to congratulate IMA for organizing such an event, and I would like to congratulate you for such an opening. And with the introduction of AI, together with the world of electricity, what a better manner to show the inflection of our industry. Now I tell you, it raises a challenge for any speaker in this forum because AI delivers better speeches than we human beings. So now, my name is very complicated, so in our company, people call me JPT. So I've decided to name this address ChatGPT. That's my best idea to relate it to AI, right? Look, it's extremely encouraging to see the orientation of India in the field of energy. For me, this year is very special because it's the 60th anniversary of Schneider in the country. And I came for the first time in India 30 years ago. And since that time, I've come every year here, and I've visited many and multiple times India. And we've made of India at Schneider our third largest business in the world. So I want to thank you all for all your partnership. India's sustainability commitments are bold steps in the fight towards climate change. And what strikes me is that becoming net zero by 2070 and being energy independent by 2047 are the natural objective of anybody who has to deal with energy security and net zero. But what strikes me also is the intelligence of the objective, because when you speak about energy, very often people speak about the supply. And here by 2030, there is a very clear objective of 50% of electricity requirements with renewable, but there is also a requirement on the energy intensity, the demand, which you don't see in many countries, but it's very clear that energy transition starts with the demand. We are all professionals of energy in this room, and I think we bear a huge responsibility to India and to the world. Our first mission, our first objective is to provide safe and reliable energy to anybody in the world and anybody in India, because access to energy and electricity is a passport to a decent life. So that's absolutely our first mission. And then we have to make sure that we support, with what we do, the ambitious plan of development of India. But at the same time, we have a second duty. We have a second duty, which is to reimagine the world of electricity and energy to make it sustainable. Because climate change is first and above all affecting the poor part of the population, farmers, people who are poorer, who are affected by droughts, by water shortages, and by all the problems and the climate disorders created by climate change. So the challenge we face together is to bring together the dimension of energy for all on sustainability, progress on sustainability for everybody on the planet. Great news here, because we are entrepreneurs and we need to be optimists, is that this comes at the same time when technology is disrupting our world. Digital is bringing absolutely a new equation in front of efficiency. We can disrupt the level of efficiency with digital to a completely new level. On electrification, clean electrification revolutions the structure of energy chains and enables decarbonization. There is a need to upgrade every part of the value chain. Generation with cleaner energy production, distribution with smart grids, and more microgrids close to the point of consumption, and the generally forgotten part of the equation, but Satish Pai spoke very well about it. Energy transitions, real energy transition happen from the demand side. Cars will not become electrical because there is more electricity. They will become electrical because somebody has started to design performing, affordable, and sustainable electrical cars. So actually, we think that the priority is on demand, because it will drive the transition and then supply will chase the demand. We just produced at Schneider a study about sustainability in India, and we are issuing the report today in Elecrama. I invite you to read it. And it's very encouraging about the potential that we have here. Our world will be, as was said before, far more digital, all digital, and far more electrical. We believe that electricity 4.0 will be the fuel for this new energy and new electric world, and will be the main driver to the path to net zero. Reinforcing our commitment to sustainability, Schneider Electric is delighted to become the sustainability partner for Elecrama. I invite you, among all, to visit us in our booth, Schneider Electric booth on Larsen & Toubro booth. You're going to be most welcome to visit us. To support India's vision of carbon, this study shows that we just published that we need to focus on demand, that we need to focus on energy services, and we need to couple the evolution of supply with the evolution of demand. We have even got to a scenario where rather than going to net zero by 2070, what would it take for India to get to net zero by 2047? And from that point of view, I believe that India has an incredible opportunity in front of it like no other country. India will see its energy consumption more than double in the next coming 25 years. But in front of that, as the world is going to be much more electric, the electricity consumption will be multiplied by 6, which means that most of the electrical infrastructure and the energy infrastructure of India will be built in the next 25 years by our generation, by our companies. And think about it. We are seeing the world today, the US, Europe, rebuilding their energy system to be sustainable and spending hundreds of billions of dollars to do that. Rebuilt everything because the old model of energy was not sustainable. In India, the duty of our enterprises is to make sure that we build this new world of energy right from the first time, and that we make sure it's going to be sustainable right from the beginning. I'm proud to share that we want to be a very active participant of this revolution of energy which is happening in India. And India being the most populous country and the fastest growing country in the world, what happens in energy here does matter for the whole world. We have over time invested a lot in India. We have here 34,000 employees. We have 30 manufacturing sites. We have more than 6,000 people working in R&D and a lot of digital in that. We are present in 500 countries, and we are exporting to 30 export locations. We are committed to energy efficiency. We are committed to helping our customers to reduce their operating costs, to increase their resilience, and accelerate their path to net zero. Through our 3 companies, Schneider Electric, Larsen & Toubro, and Luminous, we are committed to help our customers through all their needs in energy. We have strategically aligned our business approach to contribute to all the priorities of India, like Made in India, Digital India, and Skill India. And I want to say personally, because I've lived through all the steps, that our biggest pride is to positively impact 250,000 people, giving them access to green electricity for the first time, and to do that to train 180,000 youth unemployed originally in our 400 training centers, and helping more than 1,000 of them to create their own company. I want to end this address by telling you that we are looking for even more collaboration with your companies, and we thank you for everything we do together. I wish to all of our brands and our companies participating in this event a great contribution to the fantastic vision of one Earth, one family, one future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. JPT, for these foresights as we all collectively work together for shared prosperity. And as you said, demand is going to be actually driving the transition, and we have to work together towards meeting these demands. And ladies and gentlemen, as was mentioned by him, what matters here or what happens here in India affects the entire world. So we now invite our leader who's driving this energy path from India, our Honorable Minister, the Honorable Minister of Power and the Honorable Minister of New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, our Honorable Chief Guest, inviting him for his address.
What we saw at the inaugural is a true reflection of what India is today. Now, I'll say that India is great, and the power family of India, the power system of India is also great. I am happy to see I'm happy to note the fact that our family seems to have grown. It seems to have tripled or quadrupled from when we met each other 3 or 4 years back. Excellency, Mr. Jemu Soda, the Honorable Minister of Energy and Power Development, Zimbabwe, Jitendra Agrawal ji, Rohit Pathak ji, Mr. Pascal, other dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to be here. As I said, we are all one family. And we have a huge, huge responsibility on our shoulders, your shoulders and my shoulders. Our responsibility is to power the growth of the country. Now, I am happy to say that we have been doing that. From 2014, 2015 onwards, it is our sector which has powered the growth of this country. And what we have done, we can be proud of. We connected every village, we connected every hamlet, we connected every home. We connected 2 crore 90 lakhs homes in just 19 months. We transformed our country from power deficit to power surplus. We added 178,000 megawatts of capacity from 2014 onwards till date. 178,000 megawatts. Incidentally, much of that was renewable, much of that was non-fossil. We added 174,000 circuit kilometers of transmission lines, connecting our whole country into one grid, running on one frequency, capable of transferring 112,000 megawatts from one part of the country to another. This has emerged as the largest single integrated grid in the world. There are larger transmission lines elsewhere, but they are all segmented. We are one integrated grid, and as such, the largest integrated grid in the world. We have powered our country not only by providing electricity, but we have powered our country by being a leader in investments. Imagine the investments which we have put on the ground: 178,000 megawatts of capacity and 174,000 circuit kilometers of transmission lines. Apart from that, about 2.5 lakh crores on strengthening the distribution systems. We added 2,900 plus new substations, upgraded 3,900 plus older substations, added 8.5 lakh circuit kilometers of HT lines, LT lines, 750,000 new transformers, 164,000 circuit kilometers of agriculture feeders. We did all that. Millions and millions of meters, etc. We did all that. The availability of power in rural areas has gone up from 12 hours in 2014, 2015 to 22 and a half hours today. That's in rural areas. In urban areas, the average, the national average is about 23 and a half hours. And this includes, the difficult areas like Rajasthan and the northeast. So we've done a lot. We've done a lot. We can be proud of what we have done as a family. But the challenge has just begun. Now that is something which I was telling my friends here, Jitendra and Rohit, that is what is keeping me tense. The challenge has just begun. Our country is growing at 7%. It's the fastest growing large economy in the world. And it will remain the fastest growing large economy in the world for the coming 2, 3, 4 decades. We'll become the third largest economy by, I think in 2026, 27, we'll become the third largest economy. Now that means that our power demand is growing. Our economy is growing at 7%. My power demand has grown at 10%. This year's growth is 10% more than what it was last year. On a daily basis, my demand is about 20,000 to 25,000 megawatts more than on the corresponding day last year. That my consumption today is 1490 billion units. By 2030, it will be 3,000 billion units. That's conservative. So that's more than double. Today, our power generation capacity is 410 gigawatts, 410,000 megawatts. In 2030, it will have to be 800,000 megawatts. That's again conservative. Doubling our capacity in less than 7 years from now is the challenge which is there before us. And it will double again by 2047. Now imagine the quantum of transmission lines we have to add. Now we just decided that we'll put 500 gigawatts out of the 800 gigawatts which we'll establish by 2030 will be non-fossil. Now for that we calculated the investments required in transmission. I require to invest 2,44,000 crores more from what I have invested in the transmission system. The scale of the transmission lines, HT lines, LT lines, transformers, meters required between now and 2030 will just double. Imagine doubling the present stock of what India has in the next 7 years. That's what you have to do. That's what we have to do. That's the huge, huge demand which is coming up before you. Huge, huge demand. Staggering demand. You need that many more LT lines, HT lines, underground cables. The agriculture feeders will be universal. The transformers required. You have to double your manufacturing capacities and in a short order. That's the rate at which we are growing. We have to double what India is, what India's power system is in 7 years. Now, does that make you tense? It does make me tense. But I'm happy also. I'm happy that, yes, we are powering India's growth. And if we don't make this, if we don't succeed, the growth rate of our country will come down. So we have to succeed. We have to succeed. Exports are good, yes, absolutely, absolutely. No doubt about it. We need to export more. But I need, in my country, I need much more of what you are manufacturing, in my country, for my growth. So that's what we have to keep in mind. India has been unshackled. This government has unshackled India. Now the change which we have brought about is that now we work as a team, you and us. We work as a team. Now that's the change. So we discuss things. If we have problems, we solve it. We make sure that there is a level playing field. We make sure that there is transparency. We give you room to grow. But we want you to grow. Because it's you who is adding capacity, not me. It's you who is adding capacity. It's you who is adding that huge number of megawatts and the huge thousands of circuit kilometers of transmission line. You who is making it. So we'll work out a system whereby we'll keep our dialogue going. That's what we discussed with Jitendra and Rohit. So we'll work out a system so that we keep our dialogue going. But let me share with you our vision of what we are going to do, where we are at. We have already emerged. I have heard the previous speakers. I've heard Pi, I've heard Pascal, etc. Now, I have been very clear and very blunt about how I see things, and that I have spoken on many fora. The world was, the first thing I want to start off by saying is that I'm not defensive, India is not defensive. It is not defensive, why? Because we have added. We have become the fastest growing renewable energy capacity in the world. We have emerged as the biggest and the most attractive destination for investments in the world. We are the only major economy whose energy transition actions are consonant with a sub-2-degree rise in global temperature. The only major economy, mind you. Not all those people who give lectures every day. It is us. Our rate of growth of renewable energy capacity has been the fastest in the world. What we pledged to do by 2030, we did by November 2021. We had pledged in COP21 that by 2030, 40% of our capacity will come from non-fossils. We achieved that in November 21. Today, 42% of my capacity is non-fossil. And the rate of transition continues. The rate of growth of renewable energy capacity continues at a faster, and it will continue at a faster pace than any other country. Not only in capacity terms, in energy efficiency. In energy efficiency, we had pledged that by 2030, we'll reduce the emissions intensity of our economy by 33%. Now we are already at 30%. We've reduced the emissions intensity of our economy already by 30%. And this is despite the fact that we are the lowest emitters in the world, bar none. Our per capita emissions are 1/3 of the global average. The per capita emissions of the developed countries are 3 times, 4 times the global average. And that remains true. If you look at the global carbon dioxide load which has caused the current warming which we see today, 85% of that has come from the developed countries. We are responsible for only 3.4% of the carbon dioxide load, legacy carbon dioxide load today in the atmosphere, even though our population is 17.5%. So we don't have, we are proud of what we have done in energy transition. We are proud of what we are doing in energy transition, and we are proud about what we are doing in climate action. And no other country comes close. So, as I said, we don't have to be defensive. But let me tell you again, I've said this on international fora, I'll tell you here as well, that insofar as energy availability for the growth of our country is concerned, I'm not going to compromise. Yes, I mean, energy transition is necessary. Climate action is necessary. Our government believes in it. Our Prime Minister believes in it. But this is something which I said before Ukraine, and this is something which I said before the supply chain disruption in gas, in natural gas, etc., which caused developed countries to go back to fossil fuels. I said that India will not compromise with the requirements of energy for growth. So if for that I have to have fossils, I will have fossils. Sorry. But that is non-negotiable. And you know why we will need to have fossils, continue to have fossils? Because the developed world has not done what it kept talking about but did nothing. You can't have round-the-clock renewables, you can't have round-the-clock renewable energy unless you have storage. And the sun shines during the day, you have solar energy. At night, what? The wind blows, sometimes it doesn't blow at other times. Then what? You need electricity round the clock. Now the answer was storage. But the problem is that the cost of storage is very high. Why? Because the developed world did not take the trouble to add volumes, because they were not really concerned about it. They were talking about climate change, but not really concerned about it. When we started adding capacity, we realized that storage is absolutely essential. Why? Because already there are many states in my country who have to let go, back down solar and back down wind. Many of you who are developers of solar and wind will know that. They have to waste it, because the solar capacity during midday is much more than the system needs, and the wind in some areas and some states, and similarly wind. Now if we had storage, we'd have stored that and used it at night. But the point is that the largest, when we started off, the largest storage capacity in the world was in California, which is 450 megawatts only. 450 megawatts only, imagine that. So when we came out with a bid for 1,000 megawatt hours of storage, the rate which we got was 10 rupees per unit. My renewable energy cost is 2 rupees 40 paise per unit. So the storage cost per kilowatt hour is 4 times the cost of the energy. So it's not viable. Now this 1,000 megawatt hours, we have finalized the bid, we'll use it. But then we are going to have to provide subsidy, VGF, to make it viable. Why? Now, so I have started adding volumes, because the rest of the world has it. So we came out with a PLI for manufacturing of storage. Unfortunately, that PLI needed to be better designed. Most of the storage which is being manufactured is for electrical mobility, which is required, because we are very clear in our mind that our mobility will go green, our mobility will go electric, and for heavier mobility it will be hydrogen. We are very clear in our mind. So that storage is required. But I also need storage for grid scale. 1,000 megawatt hours, 2,000 megawatt hours, 5,000 megawatt hours. I mean, my capacity, for God's sake, is 410,000 megawatts. So I need huge quantities of storage. So we are coming out with another PLI, only for grid scale storage. And this PLI, of course, will be in 2 tranches. One will be for lithium ion, and the other tranche will be for sodium ion. Because we have to sort of diversify our supply chains. Unfortunately, about 85 to 89% of the reserves, lithium reserves, have already been tied up by one country. And so we are very conscious about supply chain security. So we'll have to look for alternatives. Now that again is a problem. Now this is the thinking which we are doing. And all those people who have been lecturing the world on the climate, if they had started actually taking action on that, these problems would have been solved. These problems have not been solved. But we shall solve it. India will solve it. Because why? Because we believe in the fact that we need to leave behind a better earth for our children and grandchildren than we found it. So we'll do what is necessary to be done. But in the meantime, I am not going to compromise on the availability of energy for our growth. On the availability, I am not going to compromise on the availability of energy for giving a better standard of living for our people. Let there be no mistake. And nobody can lecture us, because we are, in climate action we are ahead of everyone. So nobody can lecture us. Now, so today I have almost about 48,000 megawatts of thermal under construction. We have about 14,000 megawatts of hydro under construction, and another 18,000 megawatts of hydro will come under construction in the next 1 year. I mean, the DPRs, etc., are under preparation. That will make it 32,000 megawatts of hydro. I have 85,000 megawatts of renewables under construction, and 8,000 megawatts of nuclear under construction. Yes, nuclear is a part of our calculations. So we are going to continue adding nuclear, because you need base load. You need round-the-clock energy. Nuclear is an answer. And we must realize the fact that nuclear is safe. Unfortunately, what happens is that when we started adding nuclear, you see that some people, some NGOs funded from God knows where, they come up and start agitating. When we started setting up this Kudankwila, where were they funded from? Shall I tell you? I was Home Secretary at that time. I was Home Secretary of the country. And when I started investigating, I told the agencies to investigate where they are getting their funding from. The agitation stopped. I mean, it stopped, it disappeared. There was agitation against Subansiri, 2000 megawatt hydropower plant. Now, the developed world has exploited 60 to 80 to 90% of its hydropower. When we start exploiting our hydropower potential, then people come up with, we call it in Hindi shagufas, saying that it's deleterious to the environment. And when we started investigating against where these NGOs were getting the funds from, all that agitation is gone. Subansiri, the first unit, will be commissioned in June, July. And you know something? I set up a committee to actually examine whether the hydropower is deleterious to the environment. Now, that committee has submitted this report. It's getting printed. I will release it. They found, and they studied the number of hydro projects, they found that wherever the hydro projects have been set up, the number of landslides have come down, the level of greenery has increased, and of course, flood security. There has been security from flood. So the hydro projects, wherever they have been set up, have been beneficial. Much of the reasons for prosperity, early prosperity of Punjab and Haryana was because of Bhakra. And the fact that they are getting electricity today at 50 paise per unit. If I set up a hydro plant today, the tariff would be 4 rupees per unit. The great thing is that in 25 years from now, it will still be 4 rupees per unit, which will be nothing. So basically, in short, we are going to make sure that there is no shortage of power. That is a huge, huge challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy because I have to add 400,000 megawatts by 2030, and I have to add another 800,000 megawatts from 2030 to 2050. That's the challenge before us. And we have to double the length of our transmission systems. We have to triple the length of our ST lines, LT lines. And all this we shall do with an eye on the climate, but no compromise. And we'll work very hard to make storage viable. So we'll come out with pilots. We'll come out with pilots using green ammonia for storage. Of course, sodium ion, as I said, we'll try out for storage. Pumped hydro, I have already mapped, all the possible sites of pumped storage, and we are going to exploit every site of pumped storage which there is. Our energy will be as far as possible green. I will no doubt about that, because ideologically, our Prime Minister, our party believes in green, believes in the necessity of preserving the environment. We shall do so. We shall do so. But India will grow, ladies and gentlemen. India will grow. Nothing can stop India from growing. The challenge is for us. The challenge is for us to make sure that we provide the equipment, we provide the power which is needed for India to grow. We shall be one of the biggest investors, of course, in the growth story, because we have to add capacity. So we shall be one of the biggest investors in the growth story. But the huge opportunities which are going to come, the scale is mind-boggling. Now, only for green hydrogen, I need about 100 gigawatts of electrolyzer manufacturing capacity. I mean, this is mind-boggling. The largest electrolyzer manufacturing capacity is in the region of about 4,000 or 5,000 megawatts. 4 or 5,000 megawatts. I need 100,000 megawatts. Now, so we have coming out with a PLI for electrolyzer manufacturing. Then we need huge quantity of solar cells, modules, etc. We came out with a PLI. Now that resulted in manufacturing capacity of 8,700 megawatts from polysilicon to modules. Now we are going to come out with another PLI. It has already come out. The bid will be finalized very shortly. Now that will result in a manufacturing capacity of 37,000 megawatts of polysilicon and 65,000 megawatts of cells and modules. But that, again, is something which will just about meet our requirements. Now imagine, I have about 70,000 megawatts of solar under construction. Today, the manufacturing capacity which I have for grid scale and efficient solar modules, etc., is just about 8,000 megawatts. 8,000. even to meet the, even to make sure that the 70,000 megawatts is constructed, it will take 9 years if I allow things to continue as it is. But I'm not going to allow things to continue as it is. So what this sector will see, it will see investments, it will see urgency. There will be no compromise with quality. Exports are fine, but your country is growing, your country will need a huge quantity of equipment which you will manufacture. We shall be conscious of quality. Let's do it. Let's make India great. India is actually what you reflected in the opening. That is India. At the end, that is India. And I am proud of you for what you have done till now. But as I said, we have a huge task ahead of us. We'll do it. We'll do it. Thank you. All the best. Let us grow together. Let's make India great.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, sir, for your very powerful, bold, decisive and candid expressions as India stands committed to the growth and extending a good quality of life to its 1.4 billion aspirational people, but at the same time also stands committed towards achieving its climate action targets. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for your thoughts, your margdarshan, your clarion call for a more collective responsible commitment for casting more greener footprints for a better world and a better future for all of us. Thank you, Minister sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there are going to be 3 publications which are going to be released at the hands of the Honorable Minister. First, requesting the Honorable Minister sir to please release the exhibitors directory. This is has all the details of the exhibitors who are demonstrating their state-of-the-art technologies, their products, their solutions during Elecrama 2023. We now have the release of the EMA report which has been prepared alongside with ENY, the New Energy Equipment Outlook 2023. EMA has commissioned the study for new technologies, green hydrogen, EVSE, grid scale, battery storage within India to facilitate the policymakers and industry with technology aspects, key policy interventions, manufacturing opportunities, and the other enablers. And we now have the release of the next report, that's the Amrit Kal report, Path to Developed and Decarbonized India. This is by Schneider Electric. It analyzes the current trends and the evolution of possible energy systems in India all the way up to 2070. And it also illustrates the accelerated scenario of achieving the net zero target at 2047. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude the session, would also now like to invite Mr. Hamza Arsiwala, the President-elect EMA, for his concluding remarks and also to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Gratitude to Honorable Minister of Power, Shri R.K. Singh Ji, for finding time today for this absolutely amazing occasion. His Excellency James Soda, Honorable Minister of Energy and Power Development, Zimbabwe, for coming all the way over here to grace the occasion. Joe Pascal Tricor, thank you for being here with us. Satish Bhai, honored to be with you. And my friends and colleagues on the dais and mentors, guides, leaders, and most importantly, Gratitude to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, exhibitors, visitors, friends from utilities, PSUs who have traveled from near and far today to grace this wonderful occasion, the inauguration of Elecrama 2023, the largest power show in the world. And what more pride it is hosted by us in India today. What a wonderful morning it has been, absolutely electrifying, exhilarating to say the least. I am reminded of the words of Swami Vivekananda, who said, "Arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached." And today we gather here with a singular goal in mind to drive progress and innovation in the power sector in India, which shall power our country to be a leading economy of the world. R.K. Singh ji, you met with us and launched Elecrama a year ago on the 16th of March. And at that time you said that EMA and the entire electrical industry and fraternity are family to you. And you, all these through the years, from that time and beyond and today, have been a patriarch of the EMA family and continuously supported, passionately motivated us with your plans and even personal involvement. Thank you so much for that, sir. You have, as you stated today, achieved some phenomenal records, I would say, mind-boggling, I would say. And just to mention a few of them, transformed the country from a power deficit to a power surplus nation, connecting the whole grid as one grid, the largest grid in the world, as you said. It's absolutely amazing. 2 crore, 9 lakh homes, electrified, a target of 24/7 power to all, without interruption to all households, industrial and commercial consumers, and adequate supply of power to agricultural consumers has been an absolutely phenomenal achievement. The grid, all the numbers I captured today were absolutely mind-blowing. 1,75,000 kilometers of transmission lines from one end of the country to the other. And these numbers are absolutely fantastic. Setting up of mini grids in far-flung hamlets such as in the deep of Himalayas, where the grid could not reach, and also in the Thar desert of Rajasthan, where it is too costly to provide connectivity. These are all fantastic achievements, sir. The numerous amount of PLIs, the outlay of 19,744 crores for the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and so many money more. And we are very excited to take this now forward with, as you said, that in the next 7 years, the capacity has to be doubled by our sector. For that challenge, I want to assure you, sir, that we are completely up to it. And I'm committing to you on behalf of the industry that we will collectively, with your support, make that ambition and make that drive come true. एक चिनौती ऐसे आपने दी हमको, हम बिल्कुल उसको पूरा करेंगे, सब मिलके. Sir, you have always welcomed us in various forums, and I would like to commit to you to continue doing with us, continuously have dialogues. We shall get you experts from the best in the industry for all your areas which you have questions for, and that should be continuously continued, sir. Thank you for that as well. Thank you, sir, that you are very proud of the show this morning. It was really amazing. It's an example, as you said, of India, the growing India, and it's going to continuously keep on getting better and bigger as we go along. Joe Pascal, thank you very much for coming over this morning. It's really an absolute honor to have you here with us and share the stage with you. Your exemplary reputation and achievements precede you. You have been conferred the Knight of the Order of the Legion of Honor at a very young age, and your focus on gender equality resulting in increase of representation of women in leadership is exemplary. Your emphasis on Elecrama being the biggest exhibition of the world is really heartening to know. Your repeated visits to India again strengthens our belief that India is absolutely the future. We're looking forward to your continuous visits here and collaborating with you as we march towards becoming the third largest economy of the world. Your inputs have been very solidly noted by us, and we shall strive to follow the path suggested by you. Snyder, as a sustainability partner at Elecrama, is an absolutely phenomenal achievement, and I thank you very much for the same. Satish, we hold the Aditya Birla Group and under the leadership of Kumar Vanguji in very, very high esteem and the fine values of the organization. Having you here with us and hearing from you is really motivational. You know, metals form a very, very critical, component in all our equipment. And as we know, in the last couple of years, it's been pretty erratic, and so we've had a lot of, metals has been the topic of discussion, and I'm happy that you are here over here to understand the issues of the industry as well, because that is where the ecosystem is very, very critical, and up to the last, and that's the raw material that we all use, and your participation here is motivating in that light. Yeah. You also made a lot of suggestions with all your global experiences, especially the global supply chain. Your commitment towards the green and sustainable movement is really noteworthy, and we are really very motivated this morning to take all that forward. Thank you. All dear RK Singh said will all happen only if we resolve to do it. And I'd just like to make one critical note on that in India, we have to make this century hers, and as we all discussed today, but for all that, we need to change our mindsets, our level of commitment, change our approach. हमको हमारी सोच बदलनी है. We need to focus on the power of the Pentagon, the 5 fundamentals of quality, reliability, safety, design, and obviously not last, cost. These are very, very important. We should challenge ourselves, in fact. We put processes for manufacturing quality and we try to adapt to them. But I strongly believe that quality is the result and the expression of the customer who should feel satisfied, his problem solved, and they should be, our services and products should be, effectively utilized for years to come. And until we reach that, we should keep on resolving ourselves to keep on achieving that. And collectively, on behalf of IMA, I'd like to say that, we have a lot of MNCs over here who are absolutely fine, but we also have a lot of MSMEs in our industry. They are in fact, the bulk of our industry, the members, and we have resolved to, assist, collaborate with them, and ensure that the focus on quality is absolutely uncompromising and is left to the highest level, and only due to which we shall be able to achieve the dreams of our Prime Minister and RK Singh ji, as he said today. Over the years, we have been a bit, driven by the L1 policy of most of our buyers, and, we have interacted with RK Singh ji, and, when we met with him personally as well. And we are definitely moving towards the quality QCBS system, and he has assured his support for that as well. And we all know that, the reverse bidding, it's more of an emotional bidding of sorts and all that stuff. And the IMA is working very, very collectively hard with all policy makers to move away. And we'll get all the support from the governments in that regard as well. Finally, I'd just like to thank everybody, Rohit and JK. You guys are really smiling year to year because of the event this morning. But आप दोनों को तो ईशा और बिजली ने पूरा पटा दिया, पूरा फ्यूचर लेके, वो भी खुले आम में, आपको घर वापस जाना मुश्किल हो जाएगा. But the serious note, what we witnessed in our inaugural this morning was a peak preview of the new normal that we are moving into of the predictive AI. And I'm very happy to mention here that the AI that joined us today is entirely made in India, is truly a big leap towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Gratitude to all the past presidents, past chairmen, they're all over here. Gratitude to the forces behind us, our families, our wives, parents, children who also come over here to motivate us. I can see Anjuji over here, Kirtiji over here as well, and my wife has come all the way from Australia. I can see gratitude to the women leaders over here. I can see, a lot of them have come from long distances as well. And I would like to now formally close this inauguration by saying, together we have the power to shape the future of the power industry in India. And in doing so, shape the future of our country, and on that strength, shape the future of the entire world. And let us begin this incredible journey today by using this platform at this magnificent event, Elecrama. Let's just network, brainstorm, make new bonds, strengthen old ones, and simply, over the next 5 days, just enjoy ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very comprehensive and committed words of thanks and your concluding remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard also, and the Honorable Minister had also commended the AI, the spectacular show we saw that was made in India by Media Point Event, Media Point Live. Thank you to them. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen, for them. और अब इस कार्यक्रम की समाप्ति करते हैं अपने भारतवर्ष को, अपने कर्म भूमि को शत-शत प्रणाम कर राष्ट्रगान से. I would also like to invite the OC members to please join us on the stage as we all collectively voice our commitment, our love, our respect for our mother nation. May I request all the OC members to please join on the stage for the national anthem.
All OC members are requested to come to the stage quickly, please.
Rise.
We are running short of time.
Please.
Past presidents and past chairs, please join us very quickly. We need to finish this very quickly. My request. Past presidents, past chairs, all organizing committee members. Thank you. I can't see Vipul. Vijay.
Ladies and gentlemen, deep in our heart we believe कि हम होंगे कामयाब. आप सभी के साथ, आप सभी के सहयोग के साथ, आप सभी के efforts के साथ. And let us further commit ourselves to be working for our country with the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा. विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे. गाहे तव जय गाथा. जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
जय हिंद.
Thank you.
तो अपने सुंदर भारत के विधाता बने, इसके निर्माण में अपना सहयोग दें. इसी मनोकामना के साथ और इसी इच्छा के साथ आप सभी का पुनः धन्यवाद. विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद हमारे माननीय मंत्री जी का, हमें गाइड करने का, उनके मार्गदर्शन के लिए, उनके पथ प्रदर्शक संदेश के लिए. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the inauguration of the exhibition. And requesting you to remain at your seats for some more time. Please make way for the Honorable Minister and the other distinguished guest of honor and dignitaries to be escorted to the exhibition area. And post that, join us for the inauguration of the exhibition. Thank you.